Hi, welcome to Blender Basics number 4. We're going to go ahead and add in a row of cubes like we did in the last video, but instead of having to move around and change everything and position everything correctly, we're going to go ahead and make the computer do that work for us this time. So go ahead and click into your workspace, and then instead of selecting each and everything individually and then deleting it, I want to delete everything, so I'm going to press A to deselect everything, and I'm going to press A again, and now that selects everything. Press the X button, and I'm going to delete everything. So now we're going to work with a cube, so press Shift A, and I have my cube. Instead of doing a Shift D and duplicating this cube to make more of them, I'm going to tell my computer to make more of them for me. So I'm going to go to the left side where you see all these little small icons. Each of these icons control different aspects of what happens in Blender. These are some really cool settings in here, and we'll get into a lot of them later, but right now I'm looking for the wrench, which is the modifier icon. You can also use your scroll wheel while you're up here to move back and forth on this menu to where you can see different icons, anywhere from physics to particles and back to our modifier. So let's go ahead and click on the modifier one, and we're going to add a modifier. Lots of interesting things that happen within all these modifiers, but right now we're going to select an array. Array is just like multiplication, and you can see that it looks like my cube turned into a rectangular prism, but really it did not. So I'm going to go ahead and move over here to the settings within this modifier that I just added, and I'm going to expand that just a little bit, and we can see that really what the computer did is it added two cubes. You can see the space between it. It duplicated our cube for us, it multiplied it for us, and now I have two cubes. You can see it by the count number there. We're going to go up to 5 cubes, and we can see as we scan and zoom out and as we pan around, we can see that we have 5 cubes. There's a bit of space between these. If I wanted to change the space between them, I wouldn't go out here to press the letter G or the red arrow or any of those axis arrows. I would change that number over here. So I'm going to click there and press 1.025. And that moved them all very close together. You can see that we still have a little bit of a gap, but it is much closer together. And I have instantly 5 cubes. Now I want to build kind of a wall. Maybe we'll even go to build a bit of an enormous cube made out of small cubes. So we now have 5 cubes in a row. I have 1.025 selected, and I'm going to add another modifier. I'm not going to apply this one yet. I'm going to add another modifier. So I'm going to add another array. These modifiers, until you apply them, will go ahead and stack. So my newest modifier is down here at the bottom, and you can also see that I no longer have just 5 cubes in a row. I now have 10. But I'm going to move this second set of 5 on top of my first set of 5. And I would do that by coming down here, and I would go ahead and click here, and I would turn that into a 0. Now it looks like it disappeared, but it didn't. It's just overlapping perfectly to where it looks like it disappeared. So now I'm going to bring the Z axis up. So I'm going to put a number 1 there, and that stacks perfectly on top of each other. It looks like I have 5 rectangular prisms, but the top ones are cubes, and I'm going to put a little separation between those. So I'm going to type in to the Z number area 1.025, and that'll give us just a tiny bit of space, and that way we can see that I now have cubes on top of cubes. Well, I can also add in more to make my wall a little taller. I can add up to a whole bunch, but let's just add up to 5. So now in a very short amount of time, I've taken my 1 cube, I've made a row of cubes, and now I've made another array up even taller. So now if I would like to move this, I'm going to multiply not just 1 cube, not 5 cubes, but I'm going to multiply this whole wall into several sections. So I'm going to add another modifier. And you guessed it, we're going to add an array. And again, this is down to the bottom. That was my newest modifier, so it's at the bottom. And you can see that I now have 2 walls. It perfectly put in 2 walls exactly in line. I'm going to change the change the position, so I'm going to go ahead and click on here, type in my 0, and that's perfectly overlapping. Now I'm going to move along the y-axis, and I'm going to put a 1 right there. And you can see that now we have a much thicker wall, and again, it's actually 2 walls, but there's no separation. So I'm going to put in a tiny bit of separation, again 1.025, and now our wall, our 2 walls together, has a little bit of separation between them. You can see that they're all individual cubes. Well, now I'm going to make them up to 5 wide. So now I took 1 cube. In the bottom you can see that there's still just the 1 dot, so I have 1 cube, and I added a modifier to it, and I multiplied it out to make all of these cubes that quickly. Now before you move on, you can't just move back here because the computer thinks that it still has just the 1 cube. It's now multiplying all of those, so we have to apply our modifiers. And once we get everything set, we're going to start at the bottommost modifier, and we're going to click Apply. Then we're going to come to the next one, Apply, and the next one, and Apply. And now you can see that we have all of these cubes made for us, perfectly in line, perfectly ordered, in a very short amount of time. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.